Hey guys, I'm Daryl and welcome to the channel. If you're after camper content, today's episode won't be for you. That'll be next episode. We'll be back onto that. Today's episode is an update on Project TJ and what's been happening with that. I've been squirreling away parts and it's for preventative maintenance, not something that's gone wrong with it. And to be honest, nothing has ever gone wrong with this and really left me stranded on the side of the road. I don't want it to happen, however, but it's getting to the age now where I have had some parts for a while, namely a radiator, and these are a plastic radiator tank, and I think at 220,000 kilometres and 17 years old or whatever it is, it's probably getting to the point where I'm pushing my luck with the current radiator. And for those looking to replace their radiator, it just goes to show how good the Mopar radiator is to last that long. I don't think any of your eBay special aluminium ones will do that. However, I've also got a failed heater core in the TJ at the moment, and I've also had that thing there for a few years too. So they're two items that I'd like to get the heater done because it's nice to have, although with the heated seats we really don't feel the need to have it, but it would be nice to have to demist the screen and the like. Whilst we've got the heater core out, I do have a reversing camera and front camera to go in this, so I'll put the module behind the dash while we're in there. And there will be a lot of "while we're in there" comments today because that's why I've amassed the parts. I work on the principle of while we're in there, we should do the things that we should do while we're in there so we don't have to do them again. Can get a bit exy if the case of the diffs, when you're rebuilding diffs and it's like, well, while I'm in there I should throw an air locker or something in it. However, that's done, so I don't have to worry about that anymore at the moment. But what we're going to do is, as I said, heater core needs to be replaced. While we're in there, I'll do the reversing camera module anyway, and then I've just got to plug it in. With the radiator, I've got to take that out, and while I'm in there, I figure I should replace the stuff at the front of the engine. So we're replacing thermostat housing, water pump, all new gaskets of course. So most of the front of the engine should be done. Any sensors, the sensor on the water pump housing, I've got a new one of those. Prices for all of this is exceptionally cheap, and I'll just run through my last 3 bills at Rock Auto just to show you. Now I've done these in a few different orders through Rock Auto instead of one major one. You've got to be careful with Rock Auto that they ship from different warehouses, and each time they ship from a different warehouse, your shipping cost for that warehouse is specific to that warehouse. So shipping costs can be quite expensive, although as a whole, and if you look at it as a whole, it's generally pretty good. In one order I had an AC Delco water pump. It was $62 Australian. A Felpro water pump gasket, $1.74 Australian. Camshaft position sensor, $33 Australian. And there was $45 shipping, which came to $151. Order 2 was for ball joints, Darnage ball joints, $134, and I bought a fuel pump connector which is $55.81, and that is the connector that goes on the fuel pump at the fuel tank. I think mine might be a bit iffy. My fuel gauge is a bit wacky at the moment, and I think it may be back there, but I've just bought that anyway. Shipping was $21 for that, and that was $234. Now the next order was reasonable size. There was an air intake charge temperature sensor which was $13.35. It goes into the plastic cross tube for your air intake. Never replaced that before, so I figured it would be good. Felpro timing cover gasket, $15.32. Felpro thermostat gasket, $3.55. Radiator fan clutch, which was $47.45. That goes onto your radiator fan. It's full of oil. When it gets hot, the oil expands, turns the fan. Again, with the age of this car, I figure it's probably not a bad thing to replace that. And for $47, why wouldn't you? Timing set. Now that includes new timing gears, new timing chain. That was $74. And for those smart aleck mates of mine who do remember the time in my tunes when I decided to replace the timing belt on my overhead cam Suzuki 4-wheel drive and proceeded to bend most of the valves in the process. Won't be happening this time. This has got push rods. Can't happen. But I hope I know a little bit more than when I was 18. Moving on. Thermostat housing, water outlet, $52.60. Thermostat was $4.69. Temperature sender for the thermostat housing, $22.74. And I've also bought a Stant radiator cap, which was $4.32. Shipping on that to Australia was $96.42 and total cost was $355. Now you can see parts on this are just dirt cheap. They're just so cheap, it's not funny. I was watching an episode of the auto expert John Cadogan. He's pretty vocal on all this sort of stuff, and there was a guy wrote in who had a Jeep. It would be more complex than this straight 6 motor, whatever's in that. It was a more modern vehicle. However, the dealer wanted to charge them $2.5 grand for a water pump. My water pump was $61.91, and the gasket to go with it was $1.74. I'd suggest that the water pump in that vehicle wouldn't be any more than $250. Where does the rest of the money come from? There wouldn't be days of work to replace a water pump, but you can see also by learning to swing some spanners how much you can save by maintaining these old vehicles like this. And it is an old vehicle now. Now that's the front face of the motor, and basically everything there's been replaced then. The pulleys on the fan belt, they've all been replaced, you know, recently over the last 12 or 18 months. Fan belt's not all that old, so that should be fine. The only thing that could fail is the alternator, but it's running fine at the moment, and at some point I will upgrade that. However, I'd like to get one of the really nice alternators. There's a few people in the US putting out really nice alternators for this, so I probably will get one of those at one point. And with these vehicles, you can treat yourself because you're not having to worry about depreciation. Now, if I do have to drop the sump when I'm doing the timing gears, because there are a couple of bolts that hold the timing gear cover on, I've allowed for that too. Planning people. So I've got a leaky rear main seal, and I have for years on this thing. So I've got a new rear main seal. I've got a couple of those in case I stuff them up because they're so cheap. I've got a new oil pump just in case. I've got a new oil pickup just in case there's some crud in the one that's there. And all of these parts are just so cheap. It's while you're in there, install them. It's just a really good thing to do. So that covers the engine. Now, other parts I've been amassing. I'll go and get something and show you. Now, I've had a bit of popping when I drive into and out of car parking spaces. It's just the unis on the end of the axles need replacing. I don't like doing that, so as such I've bought some carbon off-road chrome moly axles with upgraded unis on them. These axles themselves are rated for life. If you break them on any tyre size, they will replace them, so you can't complain about that. These things weren't cheap, and I think they were about $1,200 delivered from the US. There was a bit of a weight on them, but all these need to do is slide the ones out that's in them and slide this in. So that'll have my front end upgraded. But while we're in there doing that, I've got new front wheel bearings to go on this. I've already replaced the discs and upgraded the pads. I do have new calipers to go on it, and I have new braided lines to go on the front. But once all that's done, the front axle then is completely rebuilt. Most of the ancillaries on the engine are new or near new, and then we can work our way back. I've still got to order suspension arms, and they'll be Savvy, Curry or Core 4x4. I haven't made my mind up yet, but that's where we'll work our way back from here. With the back axle, I've bought nothing for that yet. I will order some carbon axles for those. Still tossing around whether I just rebuild the drums or put a disc conversion on the back. So lots happening with this over the next 12 months. So that covers everything that we're doing to the Jeep at this point of time. With videos coming out on this, every second video I'll try and do a Jeep video. However, it's winter in Australia at the moment. Not that you'd know it because I'm in a t-shirt today, but the sun is desperately trying to put a little bit of warmth into the place today. It hasn't been like that for a few weeks. So it's really nice, and having a carport that I'm working in at the moment, it's not conducive to wanting to come out here. However, hopefully over the next couple of months, I will be into the new house and we'll outfit the garage, and it'll be really nice to have an enclosed space to work in again. Really looking forward to that. But that's it for today, guys. Don't forget, like and subscribe, really helps us out. Nearly hitting the 5k mark. It'd be great to get us up to 10. So if you haven't subscribed, please do. So that's it for today. I hope you enjoyed that, and we'll see you next time. Bye now.